Well, welcome on in to the Pegasus Actual Podcast, folks. We've got the crew assembled. I'm very happy. So it's nice to see everyone. We've got a lot of script doctors in the chats. And man, it just freaks me out seeing all these script doctors.
It's so funny.
But,
He's here in spirit.
Yeah.
Script doctor.
I need to make one.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't made one yet either.
You've got to make one. And whenever Script Doctor shows up, we just pop up the avatars. Hey, what's up, Script? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Oh, it's the same time.
But I'm excited to talk about this episode with you guys tonight. As far as the panel goes, we'll go and introduce everybody. And, we've been excited since last week, guys, to share this episode with you because, man, this is going to be fun. And this is a very good Leah Dama episode. So without further ado, let's go around. We'll introduce everyone. Of course, first I want to introduce author Stephen Welton, author of the Fandom Menace volumes. And he is also the man that's going to be coming out with the Fandom Menace Volume 2 soon. In case anybody out there didn't know, I will also be editing the Phantom Menace Volume 2. So, our goal is going to be to bring you guys an excellent follow-up to Volume 1. And I think that process is going to go well. So we're all looking forward to that. And I'm really glad that Steven's here with us every week. He has been
almost every week. I missed one or two.
He has been a very stalwart member of this family. And, he's also a great friend to all. So, hail to you, Steven.
Hail, brother. I want to say thank you to the chat for coming here. Please smash the like and the share because there's a lot of people streaming and we need healthy competition in the fandom. People need to come over and enjoy some Battlestar Galactica because they might not want to hear about all the dramas that go down. I'm looking forward to doing Volume 2. I'm glad that Drew's on the team. And Volume 1 is a lot of information, gives you information about Gamergate, Comicsgate, how all these things came to be. And then it's basically an expression of us and how we feel with The Last Jedi, and then some explanation as to some of the things that have gone down in the peripheries of entertainment. Volume 2 is going to be a celebration of the community. I'm going to have a chapter from the words of Dictor Van Doomcock himself. Jesse Milestone gave me a great chapter. I've got chapters on Mecha Random 42 and the Gospel According to Mark Lassie, and Stephanie Janicek added some material, and so did Kiri Howard. Please go check out all those wonderful people. Looking forward to releasing it. And now I'm going to go back to 6 because she's sexy.
There we go. All right. Welcome on in, Elaine. Elaine is newer to the family, but since she has joined the Pegasus Actual Podcast, Elaine has been on point, and she is very knowledgeable and an excellent sub. If you have not subbed to her channel, make sure that you do. Elaine knows her stuff when it comes to Dune. Heck, she knows her stuff when it comes to sci-fi. I mean, my goodness, they don't come much more knowledgeable than Elaine. So, Nerd Cookies, you rock, and I am so thankful that you are a member of this team. And say hello to our lovely Tat.
Well, thank you so much, Drew. That was so great. It's so great to be here to discuss this awesome work of science fiction. And thank you all to the chat. Good to see everyone. I'm Nerd Cookies. So if you haven't checked out my channel, I cover sci-fi and fantasy news and lore regarding upcoming projects such as Dune and Lord of the Rings. So hope to see you there.
Nerd Cookies, I can't stop staring at your new avatar.
Oh, you like it?
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
I wanted one that wasn't. I had one that was like my Dune avatar, but no, I just wanted like a more, general.
It makes me feel like Vinny Tartamello drew it. You know who Vinny is, Lane?
Vinny who?
Vinny Tartamello.
Vinny Tartamello. He's a really good artist in CG.
He is called the Boner King. And
well, I don't know if I've seen that.
You're gonna make this woman turn 5 shades of red. Jesus.
Well, I'm glad you like it. It's I commissioned the art on Fiverr. That's really
It's really good.
Hashtag
Beautiful.
toxic masculinity.
right. Thank you.
All right. Well, so before we introduce the lovely Jane Theory, I want to acknowledge chat a little bit. I see Toxic Man Flu's in here moderating. God help us. Parrot Head here.
Wait. Toxic is the mod?
Yeah, Toxic is our
Oh
mod.
my God. This is going to be a fun night.
Darth Haster's up in here. Great to see you, Haster. Michelle Jolene. I like to do that name in a French accent. So it's very good. Of course, we have
You can do it.
have Curtis YZ in here. We have Random Brad, creator, which Brad is awesome.
Brad is going to be up and running on his YouTube channel here soon. Look forward
Yes,
to
he
seeing
will.
him on screen.
Wookiee Supremacy, as always, and he's like every week he's in the chat, so it's great to see Wook. Speaker for the Dead came through. I'm very happy to see Speaker, and my boy Cold Blooded Critic. What is going on, CBC? What is up? Good to see you. Tatsunami's in the house. Yeah, we got some heavy hitters in the chat, and I'm loving it. So much love to you guys. Always good to have y'all on board.
I got to ask you something, Drew. I got to ask you something.
Yes.
All right. First off, we didn't go around. I know, hail the chat, but we didn't introduce Jane Theory.
I was getting to that, sir.
And I want to ask the audience, when you listen to Jane Theory, I have my own theory that Jane's voice sounds like silk, and Nerd Cookie sounds like candy.
I thought that was a great. I thought that was a great description.
It's an interesting analogy.
But, you know,
Please, Jane, say something. Say, hey guys. Can you do that? Come on.
hey guys.
Oh my God.
We're waiting. Everybody's waiting.
We're
coming.
Yeah, pretty
Well, I
soon.
can't say it.
Pretty soon, all five of us are just gonna chime in. Hey guys.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Okay. So, hey guys, you can find me here on YouTube, where I post weekly movie and television reviews every Sunday at 6 Central, as well as some occasional pop culture news and commentary. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chain Theory. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you.
Smooth as silk.
Absolutely. That was so. All right. And of course, we have the one, the only Culture Casino, one of my
The
compatriots.
hair of the fandom.
Yeah, he had the best
Eternal mate.
He has the best.
best hair of the band. And you know, one hell of a good fracking friend. All right.
There you go. I consider you the same, sir. And I am Culture Casino. I have a small YouTube channel that I make videos on. I talk about pop culture and entertainment news, and I come occasionally, or more often than not, come at it from a business perspective. Try to give a little bit more detail on some background stuff that most people don't pay attention to in their everyday reading and or reporting. I'm on a lot of different places. I'm on Thursdays. I'm on 3 different live streams at least, which include 4 Guys Talk Games, This Week in Bullshit, which I just left, and the Pegasus Actual Podcast, which is here, which I love. This is the best way to finish the day. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I do daily videos. That's when you'll see my content. On Sundays, I do the Sunday Culture Review, which is my own live show. Occasionally, I'm on Mead Sunday Fun Day on Midnight's Edge After Dark channel. On Saturdays, sometimes I'm on Shenanigans. Sometimes I'm on Marioki. On Tuesday, we started up a new show over on Wes Moody's channel that is going to be something like Trek Tuesday, although we're not going to use that because apparently that is Bounding into Comics name. Wednesday will be a live stream over on Wes's channel also that just kind of, shoots the stuff. So, but yeah, so I'm starting to get around. I'm not quite Lorena Creole, but I'm getting there.
Achieve that level. That's a bar of it itself. Every time I hear Mead, all I hear in my mind is Fenton.
Yeah, all I think about is notebooks. but no, I am actually as I said, I'm really excited about this episode because this is a pretty good one, and I think Script Doctor made a good point last week near the end of the show when he said that this is, while this episode is kind of like a standalone in a way. I mean, we still have the underlying story element to it that continues the progression of the main line, but Script Doctor pointed out last week that this sets up a very pivotal portion of the economy in the fleet, and I agree with him. So
it does answer a question that needed to be answered, and it did take you on a little bit of a side road. It still remained attached to the overall story.
Yeah, I thought so. And with that, we'll kind of get into it. So, at the beginning, we see a cut in of Lee holding a gun on, a really
black man
on
society. What kind of a message does that send?
Yeah, I know. Somebody just looked at the beginning scene only. They'd be like, "Oh my god, outrage!"
But that actor, perfect to play that.
Bill Duke, dude.
Yeah, Bill Duke's perfect. I love seeing him.
Oh, he is the ultimate mob boss.
Yes.
That dude is such a badass, man.
So I'm saying when they need characters to show up for an episode or two, they do get the best.
They do.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, Bill Duke is so underrated, man. That guy's been in so many things, and
Mr. Big.
Yep. I remember that, Jane.
Forever Predator. He will always be.
Yeah, he was in. Yep. Yeah, he was in multiple Schwarzenegger movies. He was in. If you look at his IMDb, it's just an amazing list of things.
Oh, yeah.
It's ridiculous.
And guys
he's terrifying.
Guys had a hell of a career. So, all right. So we've got that, and Bill Duke is he's just taunting him, saying, "Hey, you ain't gonna shoot."
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "Motherfucker, you ain't gonna do nothing." And
he's Wilson Fisk.
Yeah. It's like the king.
And it didn't help that the commander of the Pegasus, his name is Fisk. So every time we were talking about it, I'm like, dude, this dude is Kingpin. He is the Kingpin of Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, he is, man. At the beginning, anyway, he's rolling Kingpin style. So then I
did feel it was kind of off though, because he's Adama's son.
Yeah,
I think normally, in the real world, he would not have thought this guy won't shoot me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he thought too much of his own importance, I think.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, or it's kind of that relying on the law and order to just do the law and order thing.
Yeah.
But we just saw Adama choke a guy with one hand.
Does Adama got a choke a bitch?
Yeah. Full Ezra Miller. Yeah.
This is that
Oh man. All right, so we get a nice little cut into where it says, the flashback. It says 48 hours earlier, and so we cut to Lee in bed with the pretty hot chick.
That was not Starbuck.
And then we quickly figure out it ain't Starbuck.
No,
and it's not another officer. So it pretty much can tell without being able to tell. Yeah, it's a professional.
I know. Yeah. I don't know about that.
What do you mean?
Well, I think early on it was pretty clear. Within the first couple of moments of this episode, that Siobhan was a.
Man, y'all just get some hookers around here.
Yeah, I didn't pick that up. I didn't pick that up immediately.
Yeah,
because she seemed to have feelings for him.
Right, and they explain that later. But it to me that looked like a couple waking up. I was like, oh damn, he got a girlfriend. When I first saw it, and then the exchange of money happens, and oh, she a working girl. Okay, all right, I got it. That makes sense.
Extra for staying overnight.
Extra for staying overnight. She works it. She's got a system.
Yeah. Got her simps under control.
And that's right. You gotta know how to treat yourself.
my. So apparently this was the first Invader V.
Yeah.
No. Well, yeah, maybe. I guess so. There's a few of them though. She didn't know. She wasn't nuts like Invader V is. That wasn't her game. Her game is being nice. That's your girlfriend. She's gonna have dinner with you. She's gonna listen to what you have to say. She's gonna massage your shoulders. She's gonna listen. You know that she's a comfort girl in every
escort.
She's the GFE.
I've never hired a hooker, so I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Jane apparently never hired one, so I don't know.
But we see her daughter in this before we find out definitively, right?
Right, right.
She's,
Right. So you immediately go to these, got that fatherly feeling, you know, because every
they
dude
got her a toy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Paya was her name. Paya, I think.
It was definitely interesting to see this relationship kind of play out. Definitely a different side or a different person that Adama is. He's trying to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
Definitely an Apollo-centric episode. Like last week was the Rosalind-centric episode. It definitely focused on him and what he's struggling with.
And that's good. That's good character development. If you're going to have to do this kind of a story, you might as well delve into a character and just give them a nice, deep understanding of maybe something you didn't catch before or that was only mentioned or, you know.
Yeah. And I like those episodes. I like the ones where there's not a whole lot of stuff taking place. Like these episodes, these last two, like, take place after we've had the huge events with the Pegasus and very action-filled, very tension-filled moments, and a lot of drastic things happened. Now we're like slowing down for character development, and I like those moments. They don't really they're not a lot of shoot 'em up. They're not a lot of, I would say, tensiony almost. I mean, those kind of moments, but it's slower. But we learn so much about Ali's past and his future. And sometimes you need to take the time to do those slower episodes for those character progression.
Yeah, no, and we talked about how these episodes kind of fed into each other. You know, you had a lot of high tension episodes, and then you have the less of that, right? Mm-hmm. And this is one of those less of that. I mean, there's tension within this episode. Don't get me wrong. There's a couple of very intense moments. But it's different, and you're right. The character development in this episode is brilliant, and it sets it up.
I thought the character development was really good in this episode. You know, and speaking of that, we kind of moving forward. Some interesting nuggets that you sort of take out of the initial meeting when it cuts over to the Galactica and. President is meeting with Fisk and, of course, Admiral Adama, and Baltar is present as well, and she's discussing the supply chain and the fact that one of her aide had to trade like liquor for some medicine and stuff like that, and she wants to eliminate the black market element out of it. She said we need to be in control of our supply chain and not black market thugs. And so she announces that she's going to, change the trade policy and commensurate with those thoughts. And, when they get out of that little briefing, Baltar and Fisk are walking together as he's preparing to obviously head back to the Pegasus. They're walking down the corridor in the Galactica, and Fisk is asking, well, is President always like this? And Baltar says, well, her recent brush with death seems to have reinvigorated her and whatnot. And Fisk says, well, I hope she doesn't really think that her made-up plan is going to change anything.
Right.
And
I'm sorry, when you're done.
And he's speaking, I think it's starting to give us an extent of the fact that a large portion of the colonial supply chain is, the black market is essential to that. So, we're starting to see sort of the whole scope of how far this reach extends.
Mhm.
And at one point when their conversation is over and they're shaking hands, Colonel Fisk tells Baltar, "Hey, did you get the cigars I sent? I hope they were good." And Baltar said, "Of course, I enjoyed them
Mhm.
and everything else." And you just kind of start scratching your head like, okay, the first thoughts you have is like, is Fisk involved in this?
Yeah.
Which it's pretty plain to see from that little exchange. That's your first big context clue that, yeah, he's pretty much neck deep in the black market. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that whole exchange?
I think it shows us the reach of the market and everyone's involvement all the way to the top of it. I mean, he tells us this, that her policy would fail because it's not going anywhere, but then we actually see it in action. They follow it up by showing us that it's too deep now. It's proliferated throughout the entire administration and society, and there's nothing she can do at this point. It's like prohibition; it would fail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, culture.
No, I think that Jane said it exactly what I think. I mean, this is such a pervasive thing right now that it reaches into the command structure of the military, and there isn't a lot that can be done to stop this element. It's just like in regular society. I mean, when there are goods and services that are there, then there's an element of scarcity. You're going to have other means to obtain those things that may not be
Exactly.
the normal means.
Yeah, I mean it's similar to like let's say, and for you folks in chat, for those of you, for example, that are gun owners, if we didn't have now let's say we didn't have the ability to buy ammunition online, well, the next with the run on ammunition that we have,
Mhm.
the shortage that we have, a number of us would be trading to get ammunition, by any means, necessary, legal or otherwise. So, there would be a black market that would spring up for that naturally. And so I believe that, Culture and Jane are spot on.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Captain Fisk for a minute? This poor shit. Pegasus showed up and they were like, "I'm a badass. I'm a badass." And we're running through the universe and we're just taking civilian ships and we're just abusing robots and we don't give a shit, right? And then boom, ran into a wall and she died. Now, okay, now we get Fisk, right? Now, remember Fisk in those episodes? He was an asshole, but he was tough. He was competent. Now we've got Fisk. Who is this guy? They're
That
like,
is
"Yo,
true.
we
Yeah.
are killing, we are murking this, everything about this ship. We brought it in to murk everything about it." That's how I feel at this point in the series, because like they do use him as a device. I mean, okay, they use him as a device to show that the black market has infiltrated the government, but you could do that with any of the other characters.
That's true.
Yeah, but he's a keystone cop from the beginning. I mean, we can harken back to when the interaction that he had with
Ty.
Ty in the early on about talking about the Karen commander that we got rid of not too long ago.
Yeah, but Ty has morals, and Ty's morals are shit. He's an angry old cuck, but he's what he is. And this guy, this guy went from somebody who was giving over information about the atrocities that were happening, like felt so bad about what was going on that he was allowing himself in some way to tell Colonel Ty, these stories. And he was also, you saw him acting in honorable ways, although his morals and his standards were flawed, but he was acting morally competent. This guy's a strong character. And then we come into this episode and he's just sitting there eating chips going, "Oh, that's not going to happen." Like, what the hell happened to this dude?
That is true. His character is different.
Right. His character totally different.
No,
I did.
Go ahead, Elaine.
Okay. Oh, I was just gonna say, I did think it was interesting his interchange with Baltar,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that maybe if he would have, I guess depending on how circumstances would shake out, like for the long term, he was trying to buy goodwill with Baltar, and I thought that was interesting because he was giving him cigars, and you could tell he was, you know, like chumming up to him. So
Plotting
you're
ahead.
wondering, what did he have planned in the long run for that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good point to bring up. He was plotting ahead. He was thinking, this is the vice president. You know, he learned from Admiral Karen. He knows, he understands
Mhm.
manipulation. So yeah, he basically made an alliance with the black market, and that's a whole lot of the underworld now is at your disposal, right? So yeah, absolutely, good point. Bringing that up there, Cookies.
Then it got the best of him.
They got the best of him, all right. He didn't pay on
Well,
time. We'll go into that.
Sorry, I don't want to jump ahead. Okay, go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
I can't remember exactly what comes up after it. I think it was the scene where he goes into his cabin.
No, well, no, we're at the actually before that we've cut back to Lee, and Lee's kind of it's kind of a contemplative scene where you see Siobhan is kind of in the back of the shot, and we get more of a close up on Lee, and he's like in this sort of morose kind of contemplative look on his face, and then you know, as we go on, we see, you know, a little figure pop into frame, come out from the other room, and that is we're introduced to Siobhan's daughter, Maya, who is you know, seems very timid and shy around Lee, and then Lee says that he's got a gift for her, and pulls like a little, almost looks like one of the old Raggedy Ann dolls out of his you know, sea bag, if you want to call it that.
He unloaded that the night before.
but he pulls that out as a gift for Maya, and then you know, before that, he notices that Siobhan is out of meds, so
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
So
I skipped ahead earlier, didn't I? I'm sorry.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh no,
you're good.
it's all right.
Fine.
But
Thank
we
you.
definitely get the sense. We definitely get the sense, though, that you know, and we also, from the close of that exchange between Lee and Siobhan, you know, we can clearly see at that point that she's a professional, because you know, he had to pay her extra because he spent the night.
And he brought a present for the kids, so that brings up the question: did he fall in love with his Twitch dot? Like, did that happen?
Well, it's like rule number one, you know, and I had a friend that I knew back in the day that made you know, that he, for whatever reason, preferred to make appointments with professionals rather than get involved in a relationship. And so you know, he said rule number one: never fall in love with your provider. And you know,
Your internet provider?
no, your nookie provider.
Your
And,
wife?
you're
What
right.
are you trying to say, Drew?
never fall in love with your hooker.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty
No,
simple.
way.
So, you know, I'm trying to say it in a nicer way, but
Oh, yeah, just a nicer way. Yeah, you know, got the whole chat talking about ammunition and their guns and everything. I just want to let you know that you changed the chat's entire direction. It is all the Second Amendment right now. Yeah. Jane is impressed.
Nothing wrong with that. You know, I'm a huge proponent of 2A, by the way, but no, the thing is yeah, you never fall in love with your hooker, and you can see that clearly. He's got some sort of attachment there, and it's like, oh man, you know, you just like, what kind of road is he headed down.
Black magic woman. What's that?
So yeah. Any thoughts, really quickly, guys, on the little sort of segment here between Lee and Siobhan?
Yes, if you're a simp, only pay if you're actually getting an exchange of bodily fluids.
Oh, God.
All right, that's the only time you
So
pay.
I think that was like kind of implied, sir.
It was implied. I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe
man.
he was there to be held. I don't know. Like,
Maybe
come
he
on.
needed to be cuddled.
Exactly.
So there's so many little things. I don't know that you know, like a simple thing about a toy, and how we could take advantage of those simple little things. But the way things are now, just getting a simple doll, or medicine, but it also the important things. But so that makes you aware of the situation,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on.
It's
But
also
also Lee and his mindset.
yeah.
Any observations, culture?
No, he's
Did-
probably pissing. Oh, there.
Do
he
we have flashbacks yet?
Yeah.
I keep falling.
I know he
don't if we did.
bamboozled you. He just jumped you.
Any observations there?
My observations are the same as Steven's. I mean, you know, you don't want to get an emotional attachment to the lady that you pay for services. You know, and there's obviously feelings there, you know, and it's difficult when you put yourself into any kind of position that, you know, could end up leading you to be compromised, which we'll find out later in the episode.
What the hell is that one old saying, culture? What was it? You can't turn a hooker into a housewife.
A hoe.
That's actually exactly it.
I think the service he was paying for though was that relationship.
Right.
Companionship.
So-
Yeah, I think
So he's like calling her up, like, yo, I need the girlfriend experience.
Right.
Or the family experience, because he was invested with her daughter as well, buying her a toy.
Yeah, and that was nice of him. Also, I excuse half the things these people do is because they're under an amazing amount of stress.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. So
there definitely is a lot more latitude that you can grant them because of that. And it's, you know, and in this particular circumstance, I mean, there is a genuine external relationship beyond the interaction that he's paying for, because, you know, obviously you guys just talked about it, the handing the little one the doll and, you know, kind of apologizing for its condition, but at least the little things are something that, you know, comfort items, those are key, which is part of what the black market is all about, and we'll find out more.
And another thing, these people sleep in communal bedrooms, they go to the bathroom and shower in communal. There's nowhere to masturbate. You know, you've got to let some steam out of that bathroom. So I can't fault the man for that.
There may also not be very many dating options, I'd imagine.
Well,
No dating apps.
Number?
well, this is true. There's no dating apps.
What's the population number? What's the population number right now?
49,847.
So roughly half of that is male and female. So yeah, you're not a lot of options, and lots of people are already tied up.
Right.
So, yeah.
So just want to give a shout out real quick. Say hello. Hail, Moira. Great to see you. Always love seeing you, Moira. So big hugs and kisses to you. And also I want to welcome Bone on in here. Bone's in here chilling, listening to the conversation. So, you know, we're getting new folks popping in as we speak. It's awesome. So now, whoever wanted to start on the sequence with Fisk walking into his quarters, go right ahead. Go ahead.
He loves that scene.
Describe away.
Oh man,
I could do it if you don't want to.
you would do it better.
I would
Let's
do it.
do it.
Oh, okay. All right. So Fisk, the doppelganger of Fisk, whatever this guy is, he walks into his command center, or what his quarters? Jesus, God, what's the command center? Walks into his quarters, and he is met by some people from the black market. What's the guy's name that's running that? I forget the name of the character.
Oh, Bill Duke.
Bill Duke's character, yeah. Anybody? I can't remember. Okay, big black dude that runs shit. Because really, every scene that Bill Duke is
His
in,
name is Balin.
He's just the kingpin, man.
It don't matter who he's in that room with. All right, there's only one scene where he gets took, and the whole rest of the time, if he's in the room, it's because you have gotten your ass kicked, or he is telling you to do something. And see, he's tough from beginning to end, and he's in there. You know something nasty is going to happen, and they kill Fist. They put a piano wire around him, and they
brutal.
And then right after that, we cut to our show open. And
the credits.
The credits. Our opening credits, and the number, in case anybody wanted to know, we are on 49,597 survivors.
Okay, I wasn't that far off.
Is that after Fisk?
Right.
All right, so 49,596.
Poor Fisk.
There we go.
That's terrible.
Oh man, I love it. See, we are firing on all cylinders tonight, you guys. It's great.
Then the next scene is them in the with Doc Cottle, right? Isn't that look? Doc Cottle, you see a cigarette ashing inside a medical tray, and here comes Doc, just pick it right up, and start smoking. And he's like,
I love him so
looking
much.
over a cadaver, just having a cigarette. This dude does not give a shit. Hell,
Well,
He's seen some things.
he does not care. You cannot fire me. I'm the only one. Bitch.
Before that, you know, and I want to make kind of. I don't want to make light of this too much, but before that, we've got, you know, Racetrack is bringing Lee back on a Raptor to Galactica, and Lee is like experiencing a flood of memories because don't forget, he's just been through a traumatic, you know, near-death experience and everything else, and so he's obviously thinking about the former woman that he loved and everything
baby
else.
batter out of his brain. He's starting to think right. You know that.
Well, no, he's just
right afterward.
He's just thinking back through everything that's happened to him since, you know, the tragedy that started with Caprica and what kicked off this whole saga, and you know, there's a lot of interesting things in here, including the fact, you know, we know that he did have a presumably a fiance. I don't think he was married, but he had at the very least a fiance, and
you also find out that this dude wore knee-high shorts, big ones, and sandals. And that shirt was a little off-putting to me.
So then, now you can get into the whole exchange with Cottle and the autopsy if you would like. And
I'd love to do that. Doc Cottle's just looking over this dead body that just got murked, right? Hasn't even done an autopsy yet. Ash coming off his cigarette. Going,
I know, man. So great.
Yeah, that was my takeaway, is that Doc Cottle is the alpha. There is no more of an alpha in all of Battlestar Galactica than Doc Cottle.
Oh no, man, it's great. Hey, Hail Demajanai, great to see you in here, buddy. I will be right back. So Stephen, go ahead and keep going. I need to step away for a second. Be right back.
Yeah, if somebody came over, beware the Drew. That means a neighbor stopped by. We ain't gonna see Drew for like 5-10 minutes. He's gonna come back. His neck's gonna be hurt. He's gonna be sitting weird in his chair. Just watch. Oh yeah, okay, that's right. I'm running the show now. Sorry about that.
You're casting dispersion, Stephen. You need to continue on with the show.
I'm continuing on with the show. I did not expect this, but then again, you never know when the Drew is going to strike. So, okay. So yeah, Doc's leaning over this the corpse and examining it. Well, ashing, using it as an ashtray, and conversation. I don't know. Conversation happens between Dama and Lee, and he orders. Is this when he orders Lee to investigate? Yeah. Or does he call him as well? That's right. He has a private conversation with him.
Right.
And I mean, obviously, I mean, the Doc Cottle's like, well, he's been garroted, and he does that thing.
Yeah.
And,
That was
and
a good
then-
impression.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, you have a good coddle, man.
That's good.
But he assigns Lee, to this investigation, as a result of this action. So,
God, thank you, Culture.
Sorry,
Keep
Stephen,
going.
go ahead.
No, keep going. God, thank you. Thank you, please.
No, because I will jump way ahead. So no, you will have to continue.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Oh,
it was
that
a good
too.
conversation between Adama and Lee. I mean,
Oh,
sort of
sure.
looking at their past troubles and the trust they now are sort of forming
Mhm.
between one another, reestablishing that relationship, and
Mhm.
he's putting all of his faith in him to complete this investigation. He trusts him to do it, and I felt that was a powerful scene.
It is a powerful scene because there hasn't been a lot of trust between them, and that's what they mention. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Elaine. You were saying something.
I was gonna say that's a really good point. This episode, I thought, again, the quiet moments with the character progression, and that included his relationship with his father, and that was nice to see. He has to deal with a lot. He was struggling with his near-death experience. He wanted to die, and he's going through a range of feelings, a lot of stuff that has come back from his past that is just swelled up to the surface or float up to the surface that he's having to deal with. I thought they did that very well. And then these quiet moments with him and his dad, kind of, them repairing their relationship. That's a good point. I really
And he
enjoyed
also
that.
looked throughout this entire episode, he looked like he was just going through the motions. So I feel like his dad was may have noticed that and was trying to give him something to feel empowered and important and worthy again.
That's so true. Very, very, very astute. And I noticed that too in his performance. Like he just looked deadpanned the whole time. And that takes a lot of effort too.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah. So moving forward, we begin Lee's investigation. He goes over to the Battlestar Pegasus and into the captain's area, captain's room, ready room, whatever they called it. They didn't really say what they've ever called it, but anyway, he's in there, and there's blood all over the table, spread out everywhere, and he begins to look into the closet. He starts searching through. He finds boxes of cigars, and then he finds a bracelet that with some initials on it that he recognizes. And so he picks it up. He basically figures out that at this point that whoever that clone was of Fisk, that he was a bad guy. he was into this black market situation. And hey, True, are you back? Does your neck hurt?
No, I had to use the restroom.
It would have been a lot cooler if you had said, "Hey, I like Tracy. Sometimes she stopped by."
I don't think there's some serious issues if I'm that quick a finisher.
I mean, so you got a live stream. You're busy. You got to know how to treat your simps, man. All right.
Wow.
I found this interaction when Baltar arrives really kind of interesting because, of course, Angel 6 is there manipulating things, but man, Baltar and Lee are just like throwing daggers at each other.
They were because, well, first off, Lee is completely accusatory at this point. He's investigating. He's looking for answers to what's going on. Doesn't matter who walked in there. He was going to have the same attitude. Maybe just a little bit more disdain because nobody really likes Gaius. But then Gaius, he's Angel 6 is telling him, hey, love, you're the vice president. Act like you got some balls. Mm-hmm. And so he tries to assert himself into the situation. Unfortunately, he's a little more flaccid than Lee, and so he wasn't really able to penetrate the conversation, and Lee just completely sent him.
I love how they film these scenes too, like when he responds to something Angel 6 will say, but then work it into a statement to Lee, and he does it throughout the series. It is just so interesting how they shoot those scenes. and just it's almost seamless, but to the point almost where something's a little off. So
Mhm.
so I love those parts.
I love how he flipped it though, because initially he really was looking highly suspect. And once Six sort of got in his ear, gave him that little push to display a bit more strength and confidence. It's like a light switch flipped and he became a different person. I love when he does that.
Hmm.
It's great. Great acting.
Yeah,
It is great.
I've always thought that having her inserted, like Elaine was talking, in nearly seamless ways, was really just representations of his conscious. Having a devil and an angel on each shoulder. And they even expound upon that later on, obviously with Caprica 6 having similar stuff later down the road, and then in the very last episodes. So I always thought that was brilliant, and you're right. I mean, that engagement, Jane, is that it changes fundamentally how he reacts in situations, which is mind blowing, and it's beautiful. I mean, how they
His
filmed it, and
face,
everything.
his posture, everything just changes.
Yeah.
Well, what is some of the best acting in this series? Dullified, yes, I call that pushing rope. I think that Baltar, it does have to surprise us every now and again because of his story arc. I like he's one of my favorite characters, even though he's also Script.
You love to hate him
more than me. Script Doctor really loves him, but I appreciate that character and his art and his entire arc. I like where he eventually ends up. I think it's just well done, even if it's not your hero or anti-hero story. He's like not even really worthy of either of those except for at some points or another.
It's interesting because in the original series, Baltar was also kind of a shitty. So I mean, it's done very well on in both shows. So, but obviously they had more to work with here because the original series was canceled so early on. But it's pretty brilliant. I enjoy it a lot, and and then at the same time, I mean, Lee's becoming more aware of not only the vice president's involvement, but of even Colonel Ty's involvement in with the black market.
Yeah, and we kind of see that after we get we get the cut to the hangar deck where Adama and Ty are walking in, and and Lee is waiting for them, and they're discussing the fact that this could throw the fleet into disarray, because we've got all these command officers dying, and Pegasus has lost 2 in a matter of days. And then, of course, there's the ever-present
cursed. It's got a root on it.
Yeah, and they kind of allude to that in a sense. And the Lee kind of fills them in and says, there's a number of unauthorized, rerouting of transports. There's been, a lot of like goods seized, and there was a lot of things that were hoarded away in Fisk's former quarters that definitely seem to point to the black market. And Admiral Adama concurs and says, it looks like he was working the black market. And then, of course, it cuts to presumably a flashback scene between Lee and Siobhan, and man, good God, that man has it bad for his hooker. It's like, good Lord, how do you fall in love with your hooker? That's like,
well, I think he was looking for love. That's what he wanted.
Yeah,
and all the wrong.
Yeah, exactly. But oh man.
She's not like some random girl off the street.
That's as bad as like dating. That's as bad as when you date a stripper, man. There's just some things you don't do.
But she also resembled his woman, the woman from his past. So I think that probably had something to do with it.
Yeah, I think Elaine. I think you hit on a good point there, and that could be, one reason why, because there's sort of that familiarity that strikes in your subconscious, and and there is that level. Culture, what do you think so far before we get into the interaction with Ty?
No, absolutely. I think that his affinity for her is 100%. Because of his previous relationship. We call that projecting, and we're watching a lot of people doing that right now in the real world. But this is, that's what that is. He's projecting his previous relationship and memories upon this person. So you're paying for it always. No, don't fool yourself. You're always paying for it. But in this sense, he's strictly paying for it, and but his depth of involvement's greater, and it's because of that projection that he's. Yes.
Dollified, the answer to that is because it's cool.
I see that. I see that the chat is on point tonight. Gee, thanks, Parrothead.
Twitch that.
My ever-present colleague Don, Mr. Dollified, is in here, and of course, as only he can, brings such pearls of wisdom to the chat.
He does in unique ways, and I think that's when Stephen described it as something he's experienced. Sounds like pretty often of pushing rope.
The correct term for what was explained by Dollified is pushing rope.
Yeah.
So, from your experience, Stephen, is that when you get the little blue pill?
Honestly, I've never had one of those. And you know what? Remember those little packets of what were they? Horny goat weed or whatever it was. You guys remember that stuff?
No.
Oh, yeah, it was.
What are you?
No,
What?
No, listen. There
it?
was whole racks of like different. I can't think of them. I never bought this shit, but I've seen them in stores.
Curtis is marketing your portable toilet.
Oh my
But
God,
I was
right.
always like, why do people? How is it the thing?
How is it a thing?
God.
It's moment.
Oh, Jesus. All right. So we get into this interaction with Ty and Lee. And, Lee asks him pointedly, is Ellen around? And, he shows the Colonel a bracelet from Ellen, and says, "Hey, I found this on Pegasus." And
Absolutely right, Parrothead.
he's looking around Ty's quarters, and he notices that he's got
He's laying down drunk, and sweating. He's so drunk he's sweating. Ty's in heaven right now. He's laying around like he is messed up. We all know Ty. Come on, he's in the black market at that point. Because he was doing the shot bottle. He had like 2 fingers for each shot. He was like measuring it out. Remember when he was this Captain Cook, and he didn't have enough, so he had to make sure that he had enough for every day. And now he's got bottles everywhere.
Yeah, he's got bottles. He's got fresh fruit.
You know what I mean? She's out banging somebody. And he's happy as shit.
It's probably not a lot to do. This shit.
Right. Exactly.
So he just sits around. No TV.
There's stuff to do, Nurk. You see people working out in this episode.
Well, I can't see Ty going to the gym.
No.
Like he's got some flabby arms. I don't know.
Yoga.
Yeah. He's got the flabby tricep. But anyway, no. The thing to me, and this has always bothered me about the show, and it's that there's availability of ambrosia. And I would think that would be a very limited quantity amongst the fleet this many years along.
Years? Oh, it's only been months.
Well, okay. But eventually years into this show. And I always looked at it like, how is this possible that they still are able to have an available supply of this? And then, it occurred to me that perhaps, one of these ships is a brewery or something. But but in this episode, I mean, it's very clear, like Drew said, that this obviously trading is going on because there's a lot of hard to find items easily available.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, I got the answer for that. Chief is downstairs making liquor for the last 2 months.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, wasn't there a homemade distillery?
Yeah,
where him and Fitch were at.
One of our new viewers.
Fitch. I'm sorry, Fisk.
Yeah, one of our new viewers, Rip Korean 92. He just subbed yesterday. This is the first show that he's catching of ours, and he said Tiro made hoops. Yeah,
he did. No,
I can't imagine how. It's probably just pure. Moonshine? Just
right?
Yeah, but that he probably sold it, and if he didn't directly sell it, then somebody probably shared it and sold it and profited off it because everybody seems to be profiting so far.
But potato vodka is different than ambrosia. That's I guess.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You got a point. Absolutely.
True.
So
he
I
found
did
a way.
He was like, I'll go talk to your wife then. I thought that was funny.
Right. I'll go talk.
Yeah.
I'll go
that
was bitch. You better tell me what I need to know.
That
was her bracelet he found.
Well, that was a super tense confrontation as well because as we know from just past history, Lee and Ty, they kind of tolerate each other. They hate each other. So
do you think it's hate?
Well,
everyone gets annoyed by Ty. He doesn't get as much love.
They severely dislike each other.
Ty is the Grinch that stole Christmas. And he's the kernel of the shit.
I mean, Lee does hate him. I think Ty probably does hate Lee, but he tolerates Lee because he's not going to step on his best friend's toes, being Admiral Adama. And so, there is that uncomfortable, like, I tolerate you, but I really hate you type of thing.
I think that deep down inside, it's a conflict in Ty that he wants to show respect to these people, but he thinks so low of himself that it's hard for him to project that emotion. I don't think he respects himself. So I think that's why that toleration exists. First off, he loves Bill. That's his best friend. That's the dude that he'll open up to. That's his wingman. That's the guy that knows him through and through. Call him out. He accepts that. He can hear that from him. So, I mean, his son would be someone that by extension, he would have that grace for just by the factor that it's his son. But I think the deep down issue with the character of Ty is that he doesn't respect himself and therefore can't really project that respect to others, giving them what due respect. So that's why he's such an ass. He's a cuck. It's a shame, and I feel bad.
He says he's a cuck. It's a shame.
But he'll throw it right back. I mean, Lee was accusing him of the underground, the black market, profiting from it, and he was saying, well, you have stuff in your closet too, so he'll dish it right out.
That was awesome.
And he couldn't say a word because he knows it's true.
Well, he did admit it was wrong, so he's able to recognize that it's not okay, but he did get called out.
Yeah, but it seemed like everybody in the command structure was involved, whether trading or indirectly involved in trading or just reaping the benefits. So and being called on the carpet for your hypocrisy.
I mean, it was so obvious, like anybody doing that investigation. Boxy could have been in that room pulling that investigation up and saw a sweaty ass tub with a whole bunch of bottles of liquor, and he's like, "What do you want?" All right, I know what's going on here. And I was like, "What's up?"
Yeah.
Oh god.
But it also just makes this policy. Oh Lord.
Oh good God, Don.
God only gave us enough blood to run one head at a time. So
please follow. Make sure that you follow Dolphine on Twitter and also read his work. He is my colleague and he's a good friend. Make sure you check out his stuff on Bounding Into Comics because he is a good writer. And he is one of our very, passionate X-Men experts amongst the bounding staff. So, he can provide unique insight into the X-Men universe, and yeah, boy, he's a really great friend.
Ooh, Donald is closing in on 100 subs. Holy cow. We need 10 more people to go sub to Dollified. Go get it.
Nice. Congrats.
And
Let's get in there.
oops. And Korean 92. We gotta tell him the rule. We gotta tell him the rule.
No.
We gotta explain the rule.
Yeah, no, we jumped ahead in the conversation in the chat because of the comment before that. We were talking about what happens in season 4. So I apologize.
We did not jump ahead. Nerd Cookies jumped.
What?
And it's okay.
I jumped maybe a couple scenes.
Hey,
not seasons.
You know what? Listen, I have a theory, and it's the fact that Steven is waiting to ambush Elaine and Jane because of the coffee.
What? That's erroneous.
No.
Troublemaker stream is coming, though.
It's true.
It's coming.
Yes.
Yep.
The Troublemaker stream is coming. No, you're fine, Roof Korea. We're just
fine.
We're just messing with you, buddy. Yeah. We gotta give you the good natured ribbing for the new viewers. We
welcome to the stream.
We like to do that.
Parrot head.
All right, so I want to get your guys. I want to get your guys' take on the interaction here. After the stuff in Ty's quarters, we find out that Lee is he has no game. He is absolutely terrible with fucking women, man.
I know where you're headed with this one.
Because, and I will go ahead and defer to Steven because this is Steven's girl. He likes to talk about D, so go right ahead and you cover this little interaction between Lee and his future ex-wife.
Yes. A position that yours truly would like to have. So yeah, he's punching a bunch of He's punching a punching bag. What are those little punching bags called? Well, the tiny ones look like little
the speed bag.
It's a speed bag. So he's punching the speed bag, right? And D walks in and asks ask him where he has been. They have missed a few sessions of training and so forth because he's been busy. And he says, he said to her,
I don't have to hold your hand anymore.
I don't have to hold your hand anymore. That's right. And right, she took it. She was right. She was coming in there to express affection, to ask, all right, look, I know we hadn't seen each other in a few, but we were developing feelings for one another, wrestling, and I thought that it was going somewhere. Things have changed. What's going on? And he stood there and did the exact opposite reaction that yours truly would have had. He said, and she was just like, wow, dude, really? Like, basically, I'm paraphrasing. She was like, wow, dude, really? And then left. Right. Like, she was actually
dialogue, guys, in this episode, let me tell you.
Listen, we found out that Lee has no game. As Drew said, not only does he pay, he is a simp that pays, but he does when a genuine person says, yo, let's kick it. He's
how are you gonna be that stupid?
It's D, right? She's one of the bridge crew.
She's awesome.
When a chick's like, when she's like, yo, I think there's something going on between us. You want to see where it goes, and you're just like,
right?
How
she put out. She betrayed Adama, put out or covered the transmission when he escaped with President Roslin. Like, that's a person that has your back. There's a bond there. She works on the
ride
bridge.
or die.
Right, she is ride or die, and gorgeous, and wants to kick it with you. He really kind of disappointed me in that part of the episode, because here he's paying for something that's artificial, and there's something very genuine before him.
Yeah, and so he pretty much blows it, and she walks off like disgusted, and then that was pretty much that. And then of course it has to cut over to Siobhan, aka the girlfriend experience, where there's a thing where I guess her daughter's got really bad fever, whatever, and Lee's all concerned, and it's just a big old mess. So then we cut back to Lee. He's got a call that comes in from Siobhan, as it were. And he goes rushing over to the Cloud9 to see her. And he could see that clearly she's been beaten up. And
there's a pimp.
And he said, "I'm going to take you and your daughter back to Galactica."
She said, "I can't leave my pimp." That's what she said.
Yeah. I keep hearing that song, "Big Pimpin', Bending Cheese." I'm on.
Jane Theory.
What?
Jane Theory. What? Lee was acting like an F boy right then. Is that
yeah.
how an F boy acts?
Yeah.
Fuck boy. She's too polite to say the words.
Yeah. So
In this scene?
So
Or
then,
before?
No, the other scene.
Oh, okay.
yeah. So as the scene continues along, as soon as Lee says that he's going to take him back to Galactica, big dude bursts through the door. Lee gets in a big scuffle, and
I don't know if I call it a scuffle.
But it was right after you saw him working out, and so they were giving you a display of his strength. I thought that was well placed to have that scene, and then a scene where he's being, handled the way he was, because he's not weak.
I mean, he kicked butt for a little while, but then he got overtaken.
For all of a minute.
Yeah.
Well, then there was the other guy, but with the
gear
behind him.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bill Duke comes in
and Bill Duke, when he walks into a room, he gives you +10 to strength, +10 to charisma, +10 to wisdom and intelligence. Bam! Sorry.
+10 to gonna kick your ass.
Yeah, everything. You're done. That's him in this episode. He is Big Papa.
That was definitely probably the most tension, because what happened to Fisk, and it's man, I just
dude, Bill Duke ate him the fuck up. He was like, look, dude, I know who you are. I know whose son you are. I don't give a fuck. He's like, damn. You tell Daddy, back the fuck off. And it's just like he basically walked in and set his balls on Lee's forehead.
Oh yeah, dude. He mushroom stamped that dude's face with his cock. That's what happened.
Yeah, he did, bro. I mean, I'm like, damn.
And he paid for it in blood. He made an exchange. That was an underworld exchange right there. Through. He left. Here's the body. Here's the weapon. Here's the prince. You can close the case right now.
Yeah.
Go on your way.
Yeah.
Look the other way.
And here's the garrote line around your own neck, yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but he was passed out. I thought it was interesting too. They still showed scenes where you thought Lee might get the upper hand. He was reaching for a piece of glass, and I love how well they built that tension up. It didn't come to fruition or anything, but the fact that they built that tension up where you just don't know what's going to happen next.
And that is because you take a dexterity negative whenever the dude walks in the room.
But he's like, he told him what's what, and then he passed out. I think it's just whatever. And then he wakes up.
And you can feel his desperation too. He's reaching for the glass. He sees the girl, and it's just What do you do in that situation?
I like that it kept us guessing.
Yeah.
A lot of these things are so predictable. It's nice that we just I didn't know what was going to happen when I first watched it.
Right.
Well, I mean, he was like hell outnumbered. I mean, it was like 3-1. So, you know, I mean, he was just fucked in that moment. There was nothing he could do except, you know, be a little bitch.
His simp strength
Just
had
survive.
been
Yeah.
tapped. It was
Yeah.
done.
See, that's the problem with expelling all of your baby batter, as author Stephen Walton would call it.
You gotta keep it in, especially when you're working out for a fight. You got to keep it in. It's keep it high testosterone.
Zero to do with that, Chief, but all right.
That's what I learned in Rocky. I can't have sex. I'm not supposed to.
So while Lee's laying there like semi-conscious, whatever, he's having flashbacks in between like his old ex-fiance and the and Siobhan. So
It's just all relationship drama.
he finally
Unnecessary relationship drama.
Yeah.
he finally comes to.
And then our boy shows up. That's what happens. And you know, in this, go ahead and explain it, and then I'll tell you my feeling.
Well, no, he
I'm not nerd cookies.
yeah, he finally comes to and makes the call for a medic, and then you know you could see before they cut away the as you alluded to, Stephen, the body that was gifted to close the investigation with the bullet hole in the head. It was the Garrett guy, yeah.
So you guys are referring to when Tom Zarek enters the room and says, "Well,
no, we're jumping ahead there, but
I'm sorry."
but that was it cuts over to Baltar now on the Colonial One.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have a script doctor.
And so
I forgot that. Yeah, that was next.
So we have a scene here between Gaius and Rosalind, and she's like, "Would you like some tea?"
Right. I am about to whip thine ass. Like I'm going to expel you from the kingdom. Would you like some tea, dear? Rosalind,
she's so good at that.
I love her.
Being nice, but then like always got like something going on.
Well, now she's back. She's reinvigorated. Now she has plans.
Yeah.
She came to the brink of death, the brink not only of her death, but as the leader of the human race, the last of the survivors of the human race. All that stress, and then Pegasus showing up, and having to go through all that with Admiral Karen, and then coming to the brink of death. She's got a second win. She is going to make sure, damn sure, that if this ever comes back, if her cancer comes back, she's going to set things right. So she's just starting to she's starting to strip, she's starting to take care of the things that need to be tightened up. And one of them is Baltar, in her opinion.
It's so interesting too. Like there's such a duality to her reaction, because he is the man responsible for her being alive and being, but she has seen him in her visions, and she's not, sure of his loyalty, where his loyalties lies. So there's definitely some duality in her feelings towards him, and it works out really well in this scene. She's just so awesome.
Agreed.
Now, are those visions or are those memories? See, I started to believe more of those being actual certified memories in her mind.
Did you see, like, just how she frames it to him? She's like, she's just like in the softest voice. She's just like, you could resign, go back and resume your scientific work on Galactica. Consider it a second chance, like the one you gave me. And then Baltar just gets up and storms out.
He's pretty offended.
And it's funny because he's such a weird. I mean, he's one of those people where if you tell him not to do something, he's going to do it. So she basically pushed all his wrong buttons, because he didn't want to be in a position of authority before. But then when he was asked not to be, well, then now I want it.
It's just like his reaction to the note. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but he took it personally.
That's right. And now he's prissy.
Yeah, and she gives him the old, as he gets up to like kind of start storming out. She gives him the old, oh, by the way, this is a one-time offer.
Right.
I suggest you reconsider.
She became Admiral Janeway in that scene to me.
Yes.
and then, well, Baltar, to give him credit, he comes back with a zinger and said, "Hey, look, I never wanted any of this. I never wanted to be the BP. I never wanted to be, anything in politics. But yeah, that all changed as of this moment. So fuck you."
The war is on.
You love to hate him. He's so there's so much to his personality, and there's so much to unpack. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was nice when he stands up for himself.
And he's Script Doctor's idol.
That's true.
But again, this scene too had a really cool moment where he responds to Angel 6. Like the first word comes out of his mouth is to Angel 6, but then he finishes it to Rosalind, and it's just so well done in how they shoot it.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah, and it's
He's such a
the whole
character.
episode is full of that. No, the whole episode's full of that, Elaine. I mean, it's ridiculous how often that happens in this episode. It's cool, and you gain an appreciation for the cinematography every time that happens, because you think about how many times they have to shoot that and how many positions that the actor has to remember that they were in. I mean, it's nuts.
And also the power
yeah.
dynamics of the two different stories being told here between the investigator Lee walking around, throwing his weight around with different people, and then being put in his place. And then you have Rosalind, who has the upper hand. And in this situation, Baltar really won. I'm not giving it. He did not kneel. He didn't give up. He challenged her authority, and in that way, in that respect, he won that argument. So it's the different power dynamics in this episode too, I thought were well weaved into this story.
Yeah, absolutely. And really quickly, just to touch on the chat super quick.
Touch the chat, Drew. Beware the Drew.
Touch the chat. Yeah.
Beware.
I definitely want to say what's up. I see Justin Proper stopped in. I don't know if he's still out there lurking, but glad that Justin stopped in. My fellow Ohioan, yes. And besides that, we've got people talking and agreeing with you guys. Ruth Korean says writers did a great job of actually putting Lee in believable danger. And oh God, Don, Baby Batter is the kid coming up to the plate, striking out every time because the ball's flying by too fast. He's a man. And
Lady Mist is here. Hey, Lady Mist.
Lady Mist is here. Our resident True Blue supporter, Lady Mist, has been here since episode 1 for every chat, and she is 100% a stalwart of this chat, and we're always happy to see Lady Mist. So, Lady Mist, great to see you, my dear, and thank you for hanging out with us.
That's a hell of a word, man. That was a really good word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a writer.
Is he?
But, allegedly. So, do you guys have any other thoughts on that interaction, or are we ready to move on to the next little segment here?
No, we're good. I think I'm good.
Okay. So we've got the medic in the quarters, kind of confirming that this dude took one to the head. Looks like you got your guy, and Lee's just sitting there like, okay.
Lee tells the guy, he was like, you got your man. He was like, I was knocked out. Like the examiner doesn't have a single question.
Yeah.
You were knocked out. You shot this guy in the head.
Yeah.
This looks legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is day-to-day
No question.
operation.
Exactly.
Look, he's not asking any questions. He's just trying to get home.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't get paid enough.
Right. Yeah.
Does he get paid? Does anyone get paid?
And
I
then
don't have a work order for that.
yeah, and then Zarek is at the door, and
Of course
he
is.
walks in.
Hello.
Yes.
I love it every time I see him.
Yeah.
What's his
Yeah.
name? Richard Hatch. I'm sorry.
Right. Richard had steps on. That's like honor. First off, him being there with everything that he went through. I'll preface it real quick. With everything that he went through to try and get the series started before it, that would have had the old cast, and he would have been the admiral to come and be a part of this show. There are also scenes that kind of show, I think, maybe a catharsis of sorts for some of the older fans, because his character is basically like is very strong and disrespectful to the authority of the ship. And so maybe there were one or two old Battlestar fans happen to be watching this. Go, yeah, that's right. You're the real Apollo. Tell them.
Yeah, it kind of works. So he's not really acting that much. His real feelings coming out.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's such a good actor. He's so good in this.
Yeah. It's nice to see him every episode that he's in, and of course, we know that the role grows. But originally, I was afraid that they were going to, let him no longer be present after the prison ship episode. I was grateful that we got to enjoy him for the remainder of the series.
Well, I think, and that goes to. I mean, I wish they had actually had a few more, maybe, of the legacy actors come in there and do some stuff, But for him to get a steady role in that was kind of what I feel like, being a fan of this show, that they were honoring what came before them in that way, having him involved and having a prominent story arc going forward. So love seeing that. Richard Hatch. Sorry, I love Richard Hatch.
It's neat that they're together too, the two Apollos. I love that dynamic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Drew. I had to preach for a minute.
No,
I love the first one and this one. So
I felt very similar, Stephen, in the sense that, just what Elaine said, the two Apollos, and this is a very eloquent conversation, and we should take some time on this one, because within this conversation, you find out that actually Zarek wasn't technically the bad guy,
right?
And,
no, he's not.
It's just the fact that the Apollos are kind of having this moment where they're sort of opening up and in a weird way agreeing with one another.
Yeah. Well, see, Tom Zarek's character plays chess with you at every conversation. Every interaction. So even when he's not giving you information, he's waiting to hear how the question is going to be phrased before, even if he's willing to give you the answer, just so he can understand where a person's coming from. Like when Apollo asks him about why, when Zarek told him that he was ordered to be a part of this, and he said the black market, he said he wouldn't. Apollo said, so how long did that take for you to say yes? He insinuated that he would have done something like that. And Zarek said, no, no shipments have come to my ship since that happened, since I said no. And
Stephen, the presence that Richard Hatch had as this character, it is just so good.
He put his heart into that, into every time he came on screen. He loved the original. He loved the original. He loves the legacy of Battlestar Galactica. So when he's involved with this, he's putting his heart and everything into this character. This is who he's been asked to play, and so see that projected with him on screen. I totally agree with you, brother.
Yeah, Elaine, Jane, Culture, what did you guys think of this interaction? Because I thought this was a really important interaction in not only the episode, but it was just really cool throughout the series. So go ahead.
Yeah, I thought it was a great discussion, and it put into context why the black market is important. We've seen throughout the episode how Rosalind's plan would fail, how it just wouldn't work. But here we get a deep explanation as to why. And I think that persuades Lee a little bit to better understand the situation than when he started his investigation.
Mm-hmm. I think it also further characterizes that Zarek is a man of substance and a man of a certain amount of principle, in that he was willing to sacrifice a certain amount of accommodation to his ship, because he wasn't willing to play ball with the black market. And, while he recognized the necessity of this thing, he wouldn't put himself in whatever position he felt he was in. He wouldn't allow for that to be compromised. I thought that was really.
That integrity is good to point out, Culture, but also he's consolidating his own power.
Mhm.
I don't think he would want to or bend the knee to anybody, a criminal network. He wants to take over the fleet at some point. That's his final objective.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why he inserts himself into the investigation. I mean, again, it's all 4D chess. Yeah,
it's Derek is not pushing rope.
No, Steven.
Yeah, he's very savvy in this interchange.
Ball savvy.
Yeah, well,
even.
In that underlying conversation, that Zarek's up to something. That at least the short-term goal is, you could tell as soon as he's spelling it out to Lee, his short-term goal is, okay, I am going to be the man running this criminal enterprise. So you can tell that is at the very least, a short-term goal. You also know that, jumping ahead, we do know that,
oh my God,
at some point, the long-term goal for him is, as you alluded to, running the fleet.
Absolutely. We also found out that Bill Duke, even though we didn't get to see it, actually did take 10 strength away from Tom Zarek's character.
Yeah, but we get as we're going along here now. Anybody else have anything to add before we move into the next segment?
No, we can keep going.
Okay, so we go into Apollo. We cut to a quick cut to Raptor flying over. Presumably, Apollo is headed to where Zarek told him to go, which is the Prometheus. Apollo is again having the flashbacks of his old lost love on Caprica, and it looks like he basically told her that he's going out for deployment again. So whatever chances they had of being together or whatever it was is, not going to happen. And that's why, you see the woman tearful and all messed up. And so then he gets to the Prometheus. He's walking through the black market, whatnot. Presumably, he's looking for, who he perceives to be his girlfriend, which he's like, oh shit. It's funny when he first walks in and sees the enlisted people from the Galactica. They're like, oh fuck, I'm busted.
Yep. Yeah, they knew.
That was funny.
I know, it's just a little nuance as you see as the camera is panning through the sea of people in the little market area, and you see those two enlisted people like, oh fuck.
You didn't just see me, did you?
Yeah.
Buying cigarettes, or I forget what they were doing.
Yeah, it looked like they were buying cigarettes and whatnot, but
for Doc Cottle. Go get Doc smokes.
But Lee finds a small room where there's children being held.
And if you don't think at that moment, yes, Lee's about to shoot this motherfucker, I don't know.
Yeah.
And he sees Siobhan's daughter in there. He walks into what appears to be like a bar, underground bar lounge area, and he's got obviously now he's being tailed by Bill Duke's men. He's got one of the big heavies behind him. And Lee sees Bill Duke sitting there. And, of course, we're about to key in on this conversation.
Whew. Yeah.
It's interesting that the moment he sees the kids, that's when all of that stoicism that we've seen throughout the episode breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really does.
Let's talk about the bravery of a television show like that, putting forth all the aspects of a black market if it were to be happening in space, and that very much being a part of it and a part of the real world. And so to approach that topic is very, very brave, I think, and again evokes an emotional response. The correct one being shoot this dude.
Yep.
Well, yeah.
Definitely puts things into perspective. I mean, it started out with just things about like cigarettes or liquor, and then we actually see human trafficking taking place, and yeah, unacceptable.
And that was it, right? Just like Jane said, that's the moment he woke up. He said, "Oh, no, I got a mission." Like he knew his mission from that point forward. And so let's go into the conversation.
Yeah, I God, man, Bill Duke, fuck! He's so good.
It didn't work.
So we made it to where the beginning of the episode started. This is the moment.
But the conversation here, Bill Duke lays it all out to him. Like he's explaining everything. Like he's straight up telling the truth.
He absolutely was. Yes, he was telling the truth about the situation.
Yeah. I mean, he just kicked some knowledge to Lee.
He did. But he was, when he explains about cigarettes or alcohol, and he says some people have certain vices, and then he says, what about the children in the room? And he says some people have, what was it? I forget how he put it. Higher expectations, greater needs, something more pressing needs, something like that than others. And that's when you're dealing with evil. Right, there's no negotiating with evil.
Yeah, he was gonna have to die.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure. Was Siobhan feeding him information, because he seemed to indicate that she specifically was working for him in that way, but I wasn't.
Yeah,
that's what I got out of it.
Completely
That
sure.
she was in on it.
I would think so. I mean, well, she was in on it, but then she was then a victim of it.
I like how like the biggest quote I think that stuck out to me was, I love what Bill Duke looked him dead in the eye and said, it's hard to find the moral high ground when we're all standing in the mud. And it was a fucking great quote.
That's a good line.
That was a good line.
Yes, excellent through and through. Played that character perfectly, beginning to end. You believed his presence on screen. That he was intimidating, that he was strong, and just the way that they wrote the scenes, like every time Bill Duke come on the scene, he's in strength. But in that one moment, the only time we see him in his final moments is him sitting down, a relaxed position. I also noticed that the writing and the difference between the power dynamics. I think it was just a really well developed aspect in this show cinematically, the writing, just the symbolism. Again, as Raquel used to point out a lot, there's so much symbolism in the show.
There is.
Yeah.
And there's the follow-up quote to that where he says, you are not like, I'm not like my old man, and you are not like yours. And that was
that was a mistake.
Oh yeah, he said his father was just like Adama. They both served.
They both
said
served.
That. I was just like, no, sir.
But up
you do not
until
understand the situation.
So let's kind of dissect it up to here. I mean, I thought that Bill Duke kind of explaining it to Lee, finally telling him that, like, dude, he essentially was telling him while he was explaining the greater reach of the black market and just exactly what all was what. he also kind of, in a way, explained it to Lee, like, dude, you can't love a woman whose just like job is to, artificially be your girlfriend.
Right. Let me
Doesn't
tell you.
love you.
Let me tell you about the way the real economy works around here. Oh, and by the way, you're a bitch. Yeah, that's what he did.
That's basically what he said.
Kind of, yeah. And he did it with that great voice. I mean, there's a lot of things going for him. His physical presence, of course, but his voice is also very intimidating.
And his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
Yeah, great actor. Every time they get somebody to come in and play a role for just a couple days or a week or whatever it is, they're always good. They're just I have to say the casting crew did a great job on the show as well.
Yeah, a cast makes a program. There's no doubt about it. You can have a great idea and a great story, and if you don't get the right people in the right places, your show's going to fail.
Right. Like, I'm not getting Justin Proper to play Conan. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not doing that.
Hey, maybe Justin Proper thinks he's Conan.
He might. Maybe he dresses up like Conan.
He can rise to the occasion.
But
I don't think Justin has the frame to carry the necessary.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I love Justin, but I wouldn't hire him as Conan.
He just needs a trainer. He could do it.
Right?
Or you think about that little man nugget.
I mean, you're okay. So there are different types of male body types. I just don't see him as a mesomorph, but maybe.
Yeah. So, yep. So yeah, he calls him a bitch, and then what does he do? What is Lee's response to this?
Well, he tells him, you're not going to shoot. He basically says you don't have it in you, and then Lee's like, bam.
Right. Oh, but how he got the gun, though?
Oh yes, please. He just took it straight off a guy that had it pulled on him for several moments, and then he just kind of he turned, looked at him, walked toward him, let the gun to his chest. The guy had the gun, he's like, "Go ahead, shoot! Come on, shoot!" Like, he was at that point. Lee's balls had dropped. They were, and Bill Duke's negative penalty to his charisma was gone, and so that was it. That was Apollo we got in that scene.
Yeah.
And then he took it. He just took the gun from him, turned it on Bill Duke, and he said, "You ain't gonna shoot." Oh man, no, he's shooting you, brother. He's not after what he just seen. If that character did not shoot and had walked away from basically pure evil. Because a black market is one thing, all right. Creating a place where people can get necessities that may not be accessible to at any other time, though at a higher market price, is one thing, all right. You can debate the morality on that, but when it comes to trafficking, that's downright evil. That's anything in that realm. So
he was gonna die. There was just no other way.
Yeah, I think that's the point at which, and Jane identified it correctly. That's where the line was drawn with the kids, and it makes perfect sense because anybody with any kind of moral compass,
I wouldn't be able to respect Apollo going forward if he had let him live.
I mean, he was already mad about them taking his girl. So,
well, yeah, that's simping. That's simping, right? That's simping. So just for simping, he might have been like, all right, man. You don't know. He still wants that nectar. But yeah, you're right. As soon as the trafficking subject, that's it. You're dying.
So after he shoots Bill Duke, he lets the thugs know, if there's any more killings, there's going to be consequences. That sends them off, and then he's talking to Siobhan, and Siobhan finally says, "Look, man, I can't be like your old chick, bro."
Yes.
He's like, I just can't do that.
To the man who just saved her child.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I was thinking.
You can be a whore, but you can't be a pretend girlfriend.
Like, can't you just say thank you? At least he just saved you and your kid's life. You don't have to be with him, but you should be grateful what just happened.
I think she could. I think he's earned it at this point.
Like that doesn't mean you have to be in a relationship with them, but now your child won't be sold to someone. So
She owes him.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird?
that's the
Isn't it
only thing that
weird?
bothered me. And I'm like,
I love
He saved your child from slavery.
he's like,
Yeah.
I can't be with
Slavery.
you. Well, you could at least thank him for saving your child. And
That's crazy. You know what? Because I got kind of the opposite reaction to that because I'm a man. I was like, damn, you're a bitch. You should have never even fell in love with that. That's your fault for getting involved in that. I didn't even think about the whole aspect. So thank you, ladies. I didn't even really think about it.
interesting. Well, because her whole time she was focused on her child and her daughter taking care of her. So you can at least, be thankful that she's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Obviously,
she-
you're not going to have a relationship with him, but
But she pulls away from him like he's a threat or something. Like, what is wrong with you? How are you mad at him right now?
She's a woman who's been through abuse in her life. She doesn't trust men. And when he was showing her a positive path toward a masculine figure, she reeled in fear. She rejected it because she didn't trust it.
Sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But-
can see it that way.
So
I still think
She-
she's a bitch. though.
Go ahead, Jane.
That was my first thought. I'm like, at least your kid's safe. That would be my first thing.
Jane and Lane were like, you earned this. Like that's there's gonna be
Well-
too many guys on the ship.
I just thought like her first thought should be like, oh good, my kid's safe. But then it's like, I can't be with you. Well, I think that was just implied, and that's why I thought, like, obviously,
Well, maybe she was also thinking about him. I mean, her reaction to her life being saved and her child's life being saved is, look, I can't lie to you. I can't do this for you.
Yeah.
There we go. That's another option.
There was definitely
But, like,
definitely a
was this
high
the moment,
octane
though?
emotions.
Was this the moment to have that relationship?
Absolutely.
I know.
discussion?
Absolutely.
I
There's
know.
blood everywhere. People are scared.
Perfect time to talk about our relationship.
Right. He that's been trying to get you to bang for weeks has got a gun. Yeah.
And I wasn't sure if he was even thinking about that. I mean,
was
he
simple.
obviously seemed that, and now we know through the flashbacks that the fruition was his girlfriend, or the one he was with before Caprica, like what happened, was pregnant. So it was like he was trying to replace that family that he lost. He
With
potentially
a
lost.
ready-made family.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think he connected more with the fact that it was the family, not so much the relationship with Siobhan, but the fact that she had a daughter, and it was kind of that comfort seeking, that relationship that he lost as a family. But yeah, it wasn't the real thing for either of them, really. He wasn't. Yeah.
He also never had a good experience with his father, so he doesn't feel like he had a strong patriarch. Even if he does, I think he did, but he didn't really. He was closer to his mother, so he misses that matriarch in his life. And so to provide for one in need and help to raise a girl would facilitate his needs emotionally.
Well, yeah, and that and I think also there was that fact. We go back to that, and look, it's not uncommon for guys to kind of search that out with the woman. Some guys.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying for it anyway, right?
No, I'm not talking about the lady of the night aspect. I'm talking more, finding a girlfriend with a ready-made family.
You're paying for it anyway, right?
Well, there's a lot of guys that want a family, don't think they're ever going to have a family, and then they run into a girl that already has like a daughter or a kid, a daughter, a son, and they'll wind up getting in a relationship with that person, not necessarily under the pretense of it's happening organically and it's great, but they'll get into it more so for the fact of deep down they want a family, and they're thinking about the family aspect instead of thinking, is this a healthy relationship for me? So
I think he just wanted to get laid, honestly.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm just talking about this. This happens in general in life.
I know what you're saying.
there are people that do that, and listen, on the flip side, there are women that are single moms that have children that want to have a ready-made family with the guy. So
I don't mute my. All I want to do is talk shit.
It happens like either way. There is a certain thing to the ready-made family syndrome. It has nothing to do with the ladies of the night.
Some of them are ladies of the night, bro.
No, I understand. All right, Culture, you look like you had something you wanted to say.
No, Culture's sitting back and thinking, look, man, we're trying to be serious.
I'm enjoying it. I felt like every time I was going to say something, somebody else said something better. So I was like, okay, I'll take a timeout.
I mean,
nice. What he was saying was right now, but all I could think of was that meme where you got that like skinny dude holding on to that big girl at like the McDonald's cash register going, this is the she buys everything stance. I don't want to think like that, right? Because there are strong men that step into those roles where weaker men or men that have left this world have not stepped up to take care of their families. And so you have those men that do that, and so that is an honorable thing for those dudes, but at the same time, that meme just kept popping up in my head. I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right. Well, let's, Elaine, Jane, either you have anything to say on that last segment, or are we good?
With Lee and Siobhan?
Yeah.
Go ahead, you can do it.
I think I said it, but unless Culture had something, I think he was.
The only thing I'll add is that I truly believe, and this is going to add to what both Elaine and Jane were saying. I think she could do a lot worse than Apollo.
Yeah, right. He's a thoroughbred, right? Yeah.
He's a frigging alpha male.
Yeah,
I know. As Jane put it.
So if you were looking,
and
if you were
brave,
looking, yeah,
and you just saved your child.
yeah.
What else do you have to do?
No, I'm not ready.
If you were looking for care and comfort,
She did.
he's an officer.
He's like a prince. He's the equivalent of a prince.
Yes.
I don't understand this girl.
And I'm always amazed at his American accent. I didn't know for the longest time that he was British.
Really?
I didn't know unless I did like
Jamie
behind the
Boomer?
scenes clips and then like, oh, his accent is so good.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's getting off point, but yeah.
No, I mean you're spot on, Elaine, and like I said,
Thinks he's hot too, bro.
a lot of people sleep on Jamie Bammer and how good a job that he did in this show. Convincingly playing the role of Apollo.
Mark, that's how I was feeling too, bro.
His hair's too short. So.
Yeah, it is what
I
it
just
is.
don't see the downside. I don't get her logic, but
Hail Mark Larson.
I think they all have issues.
I offered a great explanation for it, but we've established that they don't have many options. So
Yeah, 25,000 on the other side of the gender. So yeah, not necessarily a lot of options.
Because you got to remember, some of those ships are construction ships, mining ships, fabrication facilities. And I'm not saying women don't work there, but mostly men fill those positions. So there's probably a shortage of women, I would think.
That would be interesting to know exactly what the woman to male ratio is. Just to know. I don't know.
And the age differences.
Well,
I mean, you could probably fill in that gap with like the commercial jobs, you know what I mean, like and things like that. Roles that women customarily fill in good percentages, healthy percentages in. But all we've seen from these ships has been, is like the mining ship, and though they did have men and women and children working there. It was most.
We saw that one ship last episode where they made the ammunition and shit like that.
Yeah,
there's men and women.
I wasn't saying women were being all waitresses. I didn't say that.
Get in the kitchen.
There's an interesting dynamic happening in this country currently, and that is that the females are likely to be more educated. and have more of a professional job, and the men are more likely to adopt a trade and be slightly less educated. That's an interesting thing that's happening in this country.
Well, we're morons. We are dumber.
Well, in general,
But she's in this situation. She
Yeah.
is in the lowest profession, I would think.
Yeah, that's the bottom of the barrel.
Ooh.
I don't know, man. I would figure like around the fleet, it would be like pretty high
Oh,
demand.
lucrative, absolutely lucrative. I have no doubt about that. But I think Jane's right. Like as far as society,
No.
like you got to think forward, girl. You can't strip forever. You've got to think ahead. You got to have a plan.
Yeah, no, but Jane hit the exact tone of what I was trying to say, which is he's essentially a prince. I mean, the king is a dama, he's the prince. I mean, it all comes down to the way things go. And honestly, I mean, she could do worse. I mean,
She could do work.
she's not in love with
Anyone
him
else
per
would be
se.
worse.
And her thing was that she didn't want to be his replacement, the replacement girlfriend, or fiance, or.
So she's going to find a guy with the same status, with the same ballsy attitude, who doesn't have the same baggage.
Yeah,
I mean, they're human.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's not going to find a person who doesn't have some issues.
Yeah, men carry a steamer trunk of baggage. So just so you know.
I actually have a boxy theory. I honestly think maybe this situation unfolded because D asked Boxy to give a message to her and said, if you come near this ship, I will cut you. And so she just D wanted that.
Oh, nice. There you go.
I forgot about D.
Oh yeah,
I
D's
don't
now.
understand-
I'm sorry.
Toxic.
No, I was just going to say, I don't understand. Thanks, Doc.
Toxic has been
I have no
excellent
idea.
mod this evening. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what I was going to say, so that took me completely out of my game.
Oh, man.
What were we talking about before? It was
Poor Roof Korean. He's like got all this stuff going on in the chat around him, and he's trying to make coherent points. And God bless him.
Oh, he does. Well, yeah. As a matter of fact, I mean, relevant to that, several pages up in the chat. By the way, the chat's on fire as usual. But he saw the relationship between Lee and the young lady slightly differently. And I don't think I can find it. Oh wait, yeah. He says I got the impression she knew that he was damaged and he wanted something she couldn't be.
Yeah, a hooker looked
And
at him
maybe
and said,
ultimately, and maybe ultimately that's what we should have taken away from it. But because we are all crazy, overthinking human beings, we see something else. So.
that's a good point.
Yeah, maybe it's simple.
Really simple.
Roof Korean, man. Oh, now he's getting in the spirit. Where's your parents? Dead? Where's yours? Boxing night drop. Oh man, Wookiee supremacy. We are still going. We are getting ready to bring it home. We're on the very last.
Yeah, we're gonna close it out. Yeah.
I would big shout outs to the chat. I know Shellback came in, and our friend, one of our esteemed moderators from the Bounding Into Comics channel, Mark Lurseth, is in the house. It's great to see you, Mark. And my goodness, people have just been like doing great contributing tonight, and I'm glad everybody's having a good time listening to the show. And we will go and we will do this last quick segment here. So we've got the debrief on Colonial One. Lee essentially tells the president that here's everything. Case is closed, what have you, and she's like, we can't have a functioning black market. And Lee said, well, look, we're going to keep the situation monitored. It's how it's going to be. It has to exist. and that's that, essentially, without saying as much. That's what he said. And, Admiral Adama didn't really press him on it. He just kind of, sort of took the high, took the high road on that one. And then we cut over to I think this is more just an exposition type of scene. We see Dee working out, and this time Billy's with her, so it looks like she's kind of moving on, resuming that romance. And then, of course, in the background of the shot, we see Lee walking out, and she kind of looks over at Lee. So maybe that isn't done. So then finally, we cut to Lee talking with his dad in his quarters. Admiral Adama says, since you had that mishap, you haven't been the same. You've been distant, harder to reach, and Lee just kind of acknowledges that and essentially said that he knows what time it is now, and that's there's your episode. So, what's your final thoughts on those last couple segments, guys?
Roswell took an L twice. That's what I took away from it, from all them talking, because she exercised her strength to Baltar, and he stood up for himself and said, no, I'm not leaving. And so that was a challenge to her authority. And then here we have the Admiral and his son both challenging her authority, and she's had to accept both of these things. So I think we're going to see going forward her with the realization that, the perception of her weakness and people expecting her to leave affected her optics, how she looks. And so I think she's going to have to deal with that. And also, she's, like I said, she was headstrong coming into this episode. I want this black market taken off. I want everything regulated. She wants to be the law. She is the state. She wants everything run by the state, by the law, with her having the final decision. She doesn't like having to share power. So she's had to learn again that there are people who have other games, other goals around her that challenge her power from time to time. That's what I took away from that.
Yeah, it's stripped of that fiat, the supreme ruler, because of that action. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is not something she is seeking, but she's looking for the betterment of the human race. And that's her charge, not only as a head of state, but she's also a religious leader at this point.
Yeah, and oh, by the way, I forgot the little kicker at the end of the episode, which is Zarek walking into the black market of the Prometheus.
Yep.
So
yes.
we could pretty much.
I was just going to mention that. So it's implied he's taking it over, right?
Right, exactly. We can pretty much tell who's taking over. And welcome to Rowan Ginger Raven. Sorry you kind of got in late, Rowan, but you can watch it on the playback, and I promise you will like it. We have been discussing the episode Black Market for Battlestar Galactica.
So, did not have a 10-minute conversation about flaccid penis.
Can I refer back to the scene on Colonial 1 very quickly?
Sure.
Where Mary's character, Prince Rosalind. She's like, look, I don't want this to continue, and Lee says, well, it's going to, but it's going to be monitored. And she looks at Admiral Adama at this point and says, basically asking where he's at with this, and he says, I've given Lee full authority on this. Talk about a moment of support that had been missing in their relationship all along. And every once in a while there's this hint of my son is coming into his own, and he's a member of this command structure, blah blah blah. He's the spiritual successor to leadership of the future, and yes, he exercises good sense, and I'm turning this over to him. He can be responsible for this. It will be successful. I just that part of the episode, it just made an impression on me. And of course, it shut her down. And like author Stephen Walton says, Rosalind had to take another L in this episode.
Yeah.
Right there. Bam.
Also, showing something you rarely see in cinema or television today, which is a strong father figure and a strong son. The creation of a bond between those two. You know, just showing that family dynamic in a positive way.
Yeah.
Virtually
That's so
absent.
true. And this is after the scene where stuff just falls apart for Lee in regards to his romantic and his relationships, but it's his relationship with his father and him mending those ties that really just mend those what he's struggling with, Lee in particular. Like all these other relationships are falling apart, but now he's also mending the relationship he has with his father, and that is what makes it the whole episode, I think, was leading to this moment, and it really it was so beautiful, and you said it very well, Stephen, in that regard. It's such a nice thing to see the father-son relationship in a positive light.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought so too. You know, especially with that sort of that just that ending scene with them in the sitting there having a whiskey together. That was good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
He's dealt with a lot of issues.
Yeah.
There was so much emotional.
You never resolve. I don't think. I mean, it's very rare, and I'm very lucky in both my father relationships that I've had in my life. I don't think there are a lot of people that have a complete relationship with that parental figure. I think that there were generations of men that just didn't connect with their sons, and maybe it's different now.
Yeah.
Maybe because there's so much there. There's so much testosterone in that relationship it's possible that there's always some distance. So being able to see this, like Steven said, was brilliant.
Hey, old man, Cardigan. Rowan says she's been here. She just doesn't know anything about the show. Y'all make it sound interesting. Well, I'm glad, Rowan, because listen, we are here to introduce new fans to the show as well. So, if you haven't watched it, please feel free to reach out. We'll show you, how to get on board with it. And I've got a whole playlist on the channel of all the episodes of Pegasus Actual Podcast. So you can catch up after you watch the show episodes and, catch up and see the commentary sort of talking about them. But it is a really good show, Rowan, and I think you'll enjoy it. It has politics in spots. It has religion in a lot of spots, but it doesn't get over preachy, and there's room for the viewer to make up their own mind, and I think that's what we appreciate about it.
Every complaint that you have about modern science fiction produced in the last 10 years, every complaint that you have is corrected in this show. It is a wonderfully written series. It is on sci-fi-channel.com right now for free. So you can go watch all 4 seasons of it. Everything from the acting to the storytelling, the issues that are presented are very real and, like Star Trek used to be, relevant even today, though they don't need to bring in 2004 to make that point.
I will kind of encapsulate it for you, Rowan. At the time when this show was on television, and I would say when it really started to catch its stride, and probably about 2005 was when it started to catch its stride with season 2, and I think that this was really something that was like the phenomenon of Game of Thrones before there was a Game of Thrones. At the time, this was the hottest show on television. It was the, by far, runaway #1 show on television. And by the time season 3 came out, it was most definitely the hottest show on television.
It had a very hot fandom, but the ratings, unfortunately, toward the end didn't reflect that.
Well, no, it hung. The ratings.
I'm not saying they were terrible. I'm just saying
the ratings are good, Steve. It wasn't that, because it wouldn't have made it through 4 seasons if it didn't. They just ended it at 4 seasons because they wanted to end the story.
Well, they also there was a writer's strike in the midst there. There were some other issues.
Right.
They broke seasons apart because of the way things worked out, but they were also on a smaller network. This wasn't a channel that that everybody had. I'm not going to say that a lot of people had. I'm saying that everybody had. And it was harder to find.
But Sci-Fi had successful series culture.
The writers did what few do now. They already assumed that their viewers were intelligent. Exactly, Root Korean.
Sorry, Culture. Go ahead. I didn't mean to derail you.
No. But you're right. I mean, it was a successful show. I wasn't trying to take away from it. I'm just saying that it suffered from lots of things that happened along the way.
Yeah.
But many shows now, you can tell, have taken or ripped off elements of this show.
Yeah,
and I think Star Trek Picard, I've seen elements of that with the Cylon, the artificial life forms element to it, but also the spiritual aspect of it. But they are just copies.
Well,
and this is the original, and it is done so much better.
Kurtzman steals everything.
Yeah.
Yes, he steals every idea is from something else.
Yeah, Stargate Universe tried to do this exact formula. And they found that when they came out with Stargate Universe, instead of sticking with something that was a tried and true formula that fans loved, like Atlantis, they tried to strike while the iron was hot, copy this exact formula that Galactica had going on, not realizing that it was completely unique. And this was a situation that just couldn't be duplicated. They tried to do that in Stargate Universe, and Stargate Universe, as a result, and the Stargate the greater Stargate storytelling was adversely affected because they tried to carbon copy something that just couldn't be carbon copied in that universe.
Yeah, they should have went with Sequest.
Yeah,
Well, there are portions that I liked of that, but there was a lot of mismanagement at that time with Sci-Fi, and then they rebranded it to the Sci-Fi with the Y, and I think that's when it started to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
And they just don't give shows time anymore to really flesh themselves out, to find who they are. And I think that's what it happened with Stargate Universe. It was still trying to find out who it was, blending too much of other properties like Battlestar Galactica. So it was such a success, and such groundbreaking stories, and but yeah, they didn't let it be what it was, and they kept starting these shows and then canceling them. And unfortunately, Stargate Universe was at the chopping block. Oh no!
Get that away! Hi, DJ Odyssey.
What's up, DJ?
Hey, DJ.
Oh God! That's a thing I didn't want to see.
But it's so interesting. I found that I did some research on this episode specifically, Black Market, and people were saying that this was the weakest of the season, if not the weakest of the whole show.
Yes.
And
there was several articles. One of them was a Ben a Geek article. One of them was on IO. I couldn't believe what I'd read.
I was so surprised.
I thought this was a solid episode. If I was gonna put a number on it, good. This was, at least for me, this episode was probably up there about 7.5, 8. So I didn't have trouble.
Trisha still looks good. Ruth Corinne, I think Trisha still looks good.
Oh, she looks great. She looks the same.
I don't think he's saying that he wouldn't be able to play her part in this day and age because of aging. I think it's because he's alluding to the fact that the friggin' extreme leftist purity come out of the woodwork and they'd be like, "Oh my God, she has to put some clothes on."
Hell for Baltar on a freaking leash while he's planting potatoes. It would be something ridiculous.
Yeah, no, we didn't think you meant her looks, Ruth Korean. What I think what I'm going to say is this: if you're a creator of your salt, you will not bow. You will make what you see in your head. If I were to acquire the property that I know could make me the next George Lucas, because there's a property out there that will essentially dominate all media for a decade or more if I'm allowed to take over. I will never compromise my vision for that show or movie franchise or whatever it would end up being. But you have to be a man of your salt, or a woman of your salt.
Culture is a man that does not take the blue pill.
Again?
You're a man who does not need the blue pill.
No. I am rigid when it comes to my stance on things. But thank you, Stephen. But I can tell you that if you want to be a creator and you have a vision, don't bow to these idiots that are in the world at the moment, because they are a passing fad. Yeah. They are the temperance movement. Let's just call them that. Right now, we're in the midst of the temperance movement. And if you don't know what that is, that was what led to prohibition.
Yeah. I wanted to point this comment by Mardigan out really quickly, because he made a good point about the show giving the non-commissioned officers their due, and sort of explaining that they were essential as well as just the pilots and command staff, and he's right about that. This was a show that was unique in that sense, where it showed from top to bottom that the personnel were essential.
Yes.
I mean,
everybody on the deck gang was incredibly important, and those characters were represented well. They were given individual stories and story arcs. Yeah.
The Marines, just the regular non-coms that worked in the CIC, it was great. I thought it was great.
Everybody was getting laid, even if they had to pay for it.
Yeah, Stephen, there was sex in the show.
Yeah, man. All right, so let's go ahead and bring it on home. As we said, for me, this is probably 7.5, 8. Steven, what do you think?
7 plus 6 inches. I think it was a great story. I love seeing Bill Duke. I think he's a great character. I think he's a great character actor. It was definitely like a Flushing story. It was a side story. It wasn't a main. Yeah. It filled you in on what was going on in one part of this universe. Gave you a little flushed out more of a backstory for Apollo. Gave me just enough Anastasia, Candace McClure, wonderful actress, beautiful actress. Love seeing her on screen. So yeah, I would say 7 plus 6.
All right. So, Elaine, what did you think?
I agree with maybe a 7 out of 10. And when I was looking back at reviews of this episode, I just couldn't believe how poorly they rated it. But they also compared it, and a lot of the reviews I saw, they compared it a lot with the previous episodes, which, the dramatic two-parter of what happened with the Pegasus and Admiral Kane. And yeah, those were amazing episodes. But I don't think it's fair to compare those episodes and use that as a way to diminish what happens in the later with the Rosalind-centric episode and this one with the Apollo-centric episode. Because these are the episodes that really reveal the character progression. We really get to know Apollo. We really get to know what he's been through and what he's gone through with this traumatic event of almost dying. But it also led to this wonderful moment with his father. And those moments, they take a little bit to flesh out, but it's completely worth it in the long run to really get to know these characters, to really develop that strong attachment to them. So I feel like it's just as important as those other action episodes and the ones that are filled with such drama and tension and action. And I feel, they are they're the glue to this episode, to the season, I think. So I felt like it wasn't fair. And it's funny too, because they said that this was the weakest episode, but yet the weakest episode that they viewed this as is still like tons better than any offering that we see from Star Trek Picard or any
Still better than the Last Jedi,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
So that's the weakest is still like the best that we could see right now. So yes, it's an amazing episode. I loved it. I don't think I maybe appreciated it as much at the time that I saw it, but I definitely appreciate it more now, considering the offering that we have when it comes to sci-fi and stories. So it's just been a wonderful look to revisit these episodes, definitely, and I've really enjoyed it.
Well, Elaine, I'll let you read this comment before I get Jane's take, because I think this is one of the best comments that, as a panel, I think that we like to see. So I'll have Elaine read it.
Sure. I'm so stoked finding you guys. I came into BSG late and missed it when it was on and relevant, but I hold it really dear. So I look forward to keeping up with you all.
Thank you,
Oh, that's
Ruth.
awesome.
Thank you very much.
And that, my friends, is one of the big reasons why we do this podcast, why we do this show, is to, celebrate the fandom and, bring new people in. And,
find that there's good stuff out there. There's good science fiction, good storytelling, good writing, good acting out there.
Exactly.
It's just kind of all in the past right now. So we should remember those things and celebrate them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so with that, as Jane agreed with that last statement, here, go ahead, Jane, and give me what you think your final score was.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good, well-written, concise story. We did get the character development. We got to see more of the culture of civilian life, of what's going on sort of behind the scenes. And I did love that part of it. But I would agree that it was one of the weaker stories because it was a side story. Still,
Okay.
it is better than, anything today.
Right.
So I would give it maybe 7.5.
Okay. Yeah, you and I are kind of on the same lines of thinking then, because I was thinking that too about 7.
Like, just for your man nugget.
Yeah, no, it's not enough.
All right.
I'm not that big a simp, Steven.
Oh man, that's awesome. All right, Culture Casino, what was your score?
Well, my score is a 7.5. It's very easy to explain. I could have rated it higher. I like character development. I like a good story. I like that they mix in the single episode storylines like this throughout the entire run of this show. I think they're key to giving us an opportunity to just have a break from the constant. This show is a constant thrill ride, or adrenaline pumping adventure. I mean, I don't know how to describe it, but it weighs upon you emotionally. And every once in a while, when you get that break, when you're on the flat part of the roller coaster where things are settling, you've hit a rise, and before the next dip, you get a single episode. And this episode was all Apollo. I mean, I know there were other elements in it for sure, but I just, it like Elaine said and like Jane said, you get an insight into more of Lee. It gives you a sense of why he deals with things the way he does, and how he might approach things in the future. He has a need for a connection, and it was missing, and so he searched for it and found a way to pay for it.
Yeah, I think you sized it up really well, and
He did. He was going right there.
Yeah, but honestly, it's he found a way. He ended up having to pay for it, but then at the same time, this is a problem with men. You'll find, and this is why I know this show is very well written. Men, when they feel just the least bit, not in possession of their faculties or in control of their life, or however you want to put this, they will look. They unfortunately, many men, not me specifically, but many men will look around at other opportunities in their life. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean they'll explore any infidelity or anything, but I'm just saying it's easy to become dissatisfied because we are always in marked pursuit of something.
With D right in front of him, though.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, crazy.
Well, it may be
man.
that it was too real. You know, he's still stuck in the past.
I don't ever want to have game that bad, please.
No, Jane, but
We
you
didn't
think
even have to have game. I mean, she was right there.
Right.
Yeah, that's my point. Do you think that's the problem there, or was the problem there at that point in time that she was too real? There was too much of a connection, and he was reaching back for something that he could never get back in the past. I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
I think he's addicted to that. That's why he's in love with Kara.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think that's the reason he's in love with. Yeah. You know what? Maybe you are.
She's a wild card. She's chaos, man. That's something that's attractive to men. That kind of crazy energy. I mean,
The
but
crazy quotient.
Yeah, but Mama always said, don't put your dick in crazy. Mama always said,
give him a different name.
I mean, it's the same thing though. It's the same thing. Like women like bad boys, and we like bad girls.
This is true.
I mean, shit happens that way, and there is a certain, undeniable kind of, I guess.
He doesn't like good girls, man.
Taboo attraction to that.
He doesn't like good girls.
I mean,
it's terrible.
I mean, yes, I would love to find. Wifey material. I mean, sure. We all would, especially at my age right now. Give me a wife. I'm.
You can mail order those, bro.
I mean,
did you say you could order one?
What?
Did you just tell him to solicit a purchase of a wife?
Well, I guess after this, I'm going to reach out and find one of those sites where I can order a Russian bride named Svetlana.
Oh my God, the chat is on fire.
Oh my goodness.
So 7.5. It could have been an 8 for me. Like I said, I enjoyed it. So there we are. So
yeah, man. Toxic Man Flu is on fire as a mod tonight, and also with his usual snark. But yes, you are doing a great job, Tox. And Ruth Korean says, I think he felt that she is kind of too good for him. He feels he wouldn't want to burden D with the guy who has issues. He realized he was spending time with her to get back at Kara.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Now there's that.
Exactly.
Human beings do funny things, and we also play those kind of games, and that's why I think BSG was so real to everybody, because it really captured humanity well.
90102 in space.
But it captured humanity so well.
Drew, I hate to interrupt, but I want to remind everybody that author Stephen Walton does have a book in demand on Indigagus right now.
Yeah. and also don't forget, we have number 2 in the works. Can't forget a number 2 in their culture.
No, you cannot. Number 2 is coming. The true book that represents the minute.
Yes, absolutely. All right. On that note, we will go around the panel and let everybody kind of tell where they can be found, and we will go in reverse this time. So go ahead, Culture Casino.
Oh, hi, I'm Culture Casino. I went through a litany of things that I do every other place, but this is one of my favorite places to be on Thursday nights, and I'm grateful that Drew lets me come and throw around dumb stuff and say ridiculous things. So if you are interested in more dumb stuff and ridiculous things, I have a channel that you can come and visit. On Twitter, I'm just absolutely offensive. So if you want to follow somebody who's absolutely offensive, well, to some people think I'm funny, but then follow me. It'll be fun.
All righty. Miss Jane Theory.
Yeah, you can find me here on YouTube.
No,
like I said
hey
before.
guys,
No.
come on now. We
Uh-uh.
get it twice an episode every time you're on.
No.
Come on. Hey guys, come
Come on, Jane.
on, Jane.
Not
Come on,
happening.
Jane.
It's not happening. But you can find me here on YouTube, where I post weekly movie and television reviews every Sunday at 6 Central, as well as some occasional pop culture news and commentary. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jane Theory.
There you go. All right. Moving on to Elaine, Miss Nerd Cookies.
Hello. My channel is Nerd Cookies, and yeah, I do sci-fi and fantasy news and lore, especially in regards to upcoming projects such as Dune and the Amazon Lord of the Rings. So come check me out. I just released a couple of videos regarding Tenet and the Dune trailer, so if you're interested in that, come see me. And I'm almost to 6K subscribers, so if you're interested in that, please subscribe.
Nice.
Yeah. Miss Elaine is killing it right now. So make sure that you check out her channel. And she's great with keeping everybody apprised of the news for Dune as well. So if there's any new news that pops, she always has it on her channel ASAP. So check her
They
out.
have nudes. She has got nudes on her channel.
No. She has
No.
news. You know.
I was going to say, because I missed all of those. All I saw was news and information. I didn't. Nudes that's a whole new facet. I didn't know we could do that.
All right, and I, of course, am Supreme Heretic. I write for Bounding Into Comics. You can find me on that website. I write under my real name, Drew Taylor. I don't hide. You know, I get these assholes that come after me and that say, you know, want to bitch and complain about my writing. It's like, why? You know, you want to come after me? My real name's out there. I'm not hard to find. So, you know, it's great. I enjoy writing, and I also have this YouTube channel, which, by the way, just got over 300 subs. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty happy because that means I'm maybe kind of going somewhere. And, you know, we can catch us on the Pegasus Actual Podcast every Thursday. Next week, we are doing yet another great episode. We are doing Scar, which is very, very big Starbuck episode.
Oh, it's a huge episode.
I am excited. We have to leave for that one.
Call back to an episode from the original series.
Yes, it does. And yeah, I've got a nerd boner for that episode. So make sure that you tune in for to next week's Pegasus Actual Podcast, and also you know, you can catch me on Thursdays as well on the stream I'm about to head over to, and that is on Comics Division's channel. I'm also on there, and of course I pop around the fandom. I'm all over the place, and you can catch us on the Bounding Into Comics channel on Wednesdays for Bounding Live. Myself, Dolphide, Jorge Arenas, John F. Trent, and Spencer Bakuli. So you can catch us over there, and we usually have Script Doctor with us sometimes, so you can catch us there too. I'm kind of bummed that Script Doctor didn't join us tonight, but you know, it happens. He probably either got caught up with his girlfriend, or he didn't do too much. And last but not least, well, I guess we'll let Steven bitch about things.
Hey guys, I am reverse Script Doctor. Please sub to me and unsub from these jerks. Thank you. Yes, thank you guys for showing up. Screw Script Doctor. thank you all. Appreciate you. Hail to the chat, everybody that showed up, all the new faces in the chat. That was really cool. We try to bring the fire to you for you every week. We really love this show. We're going to celebrate Battlestar Galactica, which a lot of us loved, and we hope that you come here and show that appreciation with us. There was only one Boxy theory this week, and I had to make it up, but it involved Candace, so I forgive everyone. It gave me another chance.
Dude,
What?
the chat was so on fire tonight.
That was on fire.
Even with or without Boxy series.
I just missed the Boxy theories. So thank you all very much for being here. Check me out. Oh my God. Tomorrow on my channel, the Troublemaker stream with Troublemaker Jane Theory and Troublemaker Nerd Cookies. And according to Christy, and Makini 90 showing up for some reason. I think he's simp. I think he's showing up to simp.
The Mankini.
Yeah, Mankini's going to be there. And Nina Infinity's going to be there. And Lorena might show up but she's got some stuff to do. But she'll try and make it. So I hope to see you guys there tomorrow, 6:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Rogue Entertainment at 7 p.m. on Saturday. We hope you all can stop by and hang out. Usually we have a good turnout. We've been having a really good turnout recently. So thank you to everybody that's been coming to the show and subscribing to all these wonderful people. I am author Stephen Walton, the Fandom Menace historian, your historian, born in the chats of the High Council with my brothers and sisters fighting for our modern mythologies. Wash your hands, wash your ass. Be good to each other. Peace.
All right. And with that, we bid you farewell, chat. Thank you all again for coming out tonight and being a part of this lovely podcast. And we will see you next Thursday. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. So say we all.
Say we all.